Happy Wednesday. I'm Yazi Sangari, and welcome to NX. This morning, we're talking about the film industry. The National Film Authority was launched by the President, Nana Addo, in December 2019, and its chair is veteran actor David Dontor. Under the authority, there are certain acts and provisions which must be put in place to ensure the fullness of the authority. My guest this morning is the PRO of GAFTA, Mr. George Bosompim. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So the Film Classification Act falls under the Development and Classification of the Film Act 2016, Act 935, to be specific. Can you explain what it means?
Under the act, actually, what you mentioned is a section of the act.
Okay, thank you.
The classification is a section of the act.
Okay.
When you look at section 8, I have the act here.
Okay.
It's the act is the Act 935, which brought into effect the National Film Authority.
Yes.
And it was passed in 2016.
Yes.
So if you look at it, section 8, which establishes committees, basically, it gives the governing board, which is the apex body of the National Film Authority, the right to establish committees. And one of the main committees there is the Classification Committee. Now, if I'm permitted to just read a bit of it. It says, from 8.1, it says, the board may establish committees consisting of members of the board or non-members with identifiable expertise or both to perform a function, without limiting section 1, okay. And this classification committee, it says the minister or representative of the minister as chairperson should be the chairperson. So if you look at it, when they inaugurated it, you realize that the minister nominated Secretary Safo to be the chair for that classification committee. Now, the people who are, the members of that committee are one representative from each of this following: the Information Services Department, the National Commission on Culture, the National Film and Television Institute, the Film Producers Association of Ghana, the Ghana Police Service, not below the rank of Assistant Superintendent of Police, then the Copyright Office, the Christian Council of Ghana, Federation of Muslim Councils, Traditional Religious Authorities, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, and the one representative from the National House of Chiefs. Then the committee could co-opt other members, professionals like you, like myself, filmmakers and the rest, to be part of the preview, everyone. Now, the main task of this classification committee is to classify audiovisual works that come on air, free on air television and all that, where, they go and exhibit, especially with the commercial films, so they classify it. Now, the process in classifying, if you want to go in there and go and classify a film, you have to show ownership of the film.
Yes.
So there are film people who have that ownership to the right, and there are people who have ownership to the right. They're two different people. For instance, if you are, your television station is showing a film here right now, you hold the right. You don't own the right, because it might be somebody's film that you have put in.
Yes, you just have the right to air it.
Good, that's the point. So this, you have to have that before you can even go and classify.
Okay.
When you get there for the classification, you have to prove that. So the best route normally, most often, is for the ownership to register with the copyright. That's why there's a copyright person even on the board.
Okay, now I have a question for you. How is this act supposed to help the film industry? Because before it, a lot of people were saying that the industry was kind of taking a nosedive. So how is this going to help the industry?
This is just a small bit of what will help the industry. But basically, it's supposed to sanitize the system. You know that, there are situations where people show just anything at any time, especially with television, because this thing is not only for the exhibition halls, it's also for television as well. If you watch the normal pay-per-view television, like DSTV, they'll classify things and put it there. So when the film is about to begin, you know that this film is meant for this at the beginning. It's meant for 18, 16, that kind of thing before it's shown. We don't do that here.
Okay.
But there's a law for it.
Okay.
The law have been there, long ago when the classification board was there. Now, what it does is that it sanitizes this thing so that we know who should watch what. That's the first thing. The other thing that we also should look at is that whilst you're doing the process of registering, you're somehow giving data to the National Film Authority.
Okay.
You understand? So now we get to know how many films are being produced in Ghana,
So
how many
So in a way, it's helping the film in Ghana to be more systematic.
Yes.
So you guys can collect data. Because I read in the act that you're also going to be classifying them like universal,
I was going
PG-13.
to come to that to tell you the different
Yes.
classification.
So what do you look at before you classify a film as PG-13 or rated R? How are you going to do that?
Of course, I mean the PG. It might be a film that have something light in there that a child might not have to watch. You know, for the parental guidance, so that when the parent is around, you guide your child. You understand? So maybe there'll be a little bit of violence, there'll be a little bit of nudity, and that kind of thing. So you could, of course, once you have the remote in hand, you can always skip.
Okay.
You understand? And then sometimes, even if you're going to watch it out there in an exhibition hall, let's say a theater, you decide that, look, my child might go with me or not, that kind of thing. In that same manner, when you look at the other classifications, like the universal purely means that anybody at all can watch it. You know, then you have 12, you have 15, you have 18. So anybody from 12 onwards, or anybody from the age of 15, 18 onwards, you know. And then there's one very critical one, the NS, which is not suitable for television.
Yes. Yes.
So there are films that are not suitable for television.
Yes, I read, for example, that the P films are not going to be accepted at all, right?
Yes, the pornographic, there's a whole thing on section 20 on pornography.
That it's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable, all. Even with the not suitable for television. If you go and work on it and maybe remove a part of it, edit it out, and it's possible, you can come back for reclassification.
Okay.
And the other thing that people should also know is that in as much as a film enters our jurisdiction, it has to be classified. You understand? Because you are bringing that product to us. Once we are going to consume, and our cultural values are different from other people's cultural values. I'm talking about the other countries that you are bringing from. So it is to check those things as well. For instance, you could have a 12-year-old kissing another 12-year-old on TV elsewhere. Is it accepted in our country? No. No. You know, our cultural values would not allow that kind of thing to happen.
I get you. So how will this help ordinary filmmakers, such as producers, script writers, actors? How are they going to benefit from it?
It's basically, I spoke about sanitizing the system. But the other thing is the documentation that I spoke about. Ownership. You know, there are a lot of situations where people fight over ownership.
Yes.
But now, because you have to go through this process, ownership will come in there. Even contractual things will come in there. Sometimes, some actors, performers, act for people, and they say, "Oh, I'll pay you later." When it comes to the nitty-gritty, when they have to really pay, it becomes an issue.
Yes.
But once you have these contractual things in there, and when he was going to register, he had declared all these things in there, we know that he also holds a right to the thing. So when there's anything coming in, it's easier for them to resolve their issues when they come to this conflict of who is paying and that kind of thing. You know, that's the first thing. The other thing is, even with the National Film Authority, there's a situation where they have to even help with funding. Because they have a committee. They would have a committee that would deal with a film fund. That film fund allows that they give 60% of your budget to you if you do something connected to our cultural values, tourism. You know, anything that will promote our identity and our country. They should be able to help you with not less than 60% of your budget. Now, all these things are going to draw it from these kind of things that they put in place, the new arrangement that they put in place. Otherwise, they're not going to.
How will you ensure that filmmakers are abiding by these regulations?
It's a law. See, the truth is that once there's a law and there's an authority, and there are committees that have set up to do that, to check these kind of things, they are the people who are going to. But the truth is not about even abiding by this. For me, it is for your own good to follow these things, because it was there before. It has come back enhanced. You know, because we used to have the classification board.
I know,
that's why we used to have the license, and these classification board was the same people who were doing the licensing of cinema halls and all those kinds of things. Now they're going to have a committee that's going to deal with licensing. And the licensing will even go beyond just cinema halls and exhibition halls.
So
it's going to be.
Are you going to have any punishment for filmmakers or anyone?
It's stated in the law the kind of punishment, and they are quoted in these legal things that I do not want to touch there, because they have to convert those things into cities.
Okay.
You know, they have penalty units and those things. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't want to go into that kind of territory. But there's punishment in there.
Now, with what's going on right now, this COVID-19 era, how are you guys working?
Oh, it's a bit of because I started a TV series that I had to stop because of the numbers. Because my crew were more than the 25 that day. Maybe my crew alone were 26.
Okay.
You know, but and I borrowed money. But the people are still working towards that bit where they're going to have a smaller crew. And the other thing is the distribution channels as well. Because of course, if we are going to do something that we're going to show in the theaters for people to see is going to be difficult because of the numbers.
Now,
and so online is a very big thing now.
Yes,
and so
that was what I was going to get in.
Okay.
That's what I was going to get into. Right now, if COVID-19 keeps going, we don't know when it's going to end. How are you going to work?
I think we're going to work with smaller numbers, and I mean in groups that we can manage, so that we can go by. It's kind of a conjecture because we don't know what will happen on Friday. If the president says, okay, everybody can, that kind of thing. So that's another thing. But the major thing is the marketing bit, where exhibition and all those things are going to, be affected. And I think that everybody should look at the online business and understand it. More especially get people who understand that business, so to help them distribute, because it's easier to distribute online than to go by these exhibitions and all those kinds of things now. It's far difficult, and there are a lot of people in our industry now who do those kind of things. The most important thing is trying to get the right people,
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. George Busumpim. He's the PRO of GAFTA. And thank you for tuning in. I'm Yazi Sengari, and we'll be back with NX tomorrow. Stay tuned for more.